evening. Welcome to our Friday, March 31, 2017 edition of the Government News Brief. In the news this evening, GGMC to undertake several mineral mapping projects, families and vulnerable groups receive agricultural support, and the government is working to address illegal mining in buffer zones. Details when the news returns. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur. Here are the details. The Geological Service Division of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission will be undertaking 12 projects across the country aimed at mapping Guyana's mineral deposits. Tiffany Rodias has the details.
The 12 projects for 2017 are part of an initiative to map all of Guyana's mineral deposits by 2020. Geologist Lawrence Simon says other geologists are already in the fields collecting samples.
This year we have 6 projects to start in the near future, probably within the next 2 weeks. We'll be having 3 in Rupununi down south, and we'll be doing 3 in the northwest area.
Simon notes that while the information gathered will allow the GGMC to update its geological maps, it will also be invaluable to miners.
With that is more information, and better you can assist the miners to tell them, well, the gold is coming from this place, so you should go that side, or it's right around the areas.
Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, Simona Brooms, adds that the information will reduce wanton destruction of the environment. This, the minister notes, will be critical to the government's green initiative.
I always say that after the mapping out, I would really want, with the greening of the economy and this government green initiative, that we move to quantification. So not only do we know that there's some amount of mineral here, but we know the value, the worth for the mineral that is there.
The government has set aside some $2 billion to have the entire country mapped by 2020. For the Government News Brief, Tiffany Rogers.
Families in Region 6 receive support from key agencies towards poverty alleviation through agriculture.
Single mothers and vulnerable groups will benefit from 2 agricultural programs that were launched yesterday by the St. Francis Community Developers Group in Region 6. The programs are in the areas of aquaculture and shade house farming. Country Representative, Food and Agricultural Organization Ruben Robertson says this development is the first step towards poverty reduction in Region 6.
This is the first step, setting up and launching the aquaculture pond today, and distributing these greenhouses is really the first step in the process of building an industry for aquaculture in this area. It is the first step of moving the beneficiaries out of poverty.
The shade house and inland fishing or aquaculture programs will allow selected groups such as single mothers to obtain additional sources of income. Other support agencies will be providing technical assistance. Key government ministries supporting the project are Ministries of Agriculture and Social Protection. Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali endorsed the view that the programs will help end poverty.
This project, as you know, started in 2016 under the previous Minister of Social Protection. And prior to 2015, many of our young people, many women, many organized entities were not given the opportunity to empower themselves. Many existed in a conundrum of poverty. Some endured stress to give their families a good life.
10 shade houses have been constructed by male inmates of the New Amsterdam prisons. These are assigned to single mothers and families in Colden, Limleer, Lighttown, East Bank, Berbice, and New Amsterdam. Meanwhile, the Lower Quarantine Secondary School and the female ward of the New Amsterdam prison also received shade houses for practical agricultural education purposes. For the Government News Brief, Gabriela Patram.
Mining operations have been discovered within buffer zones in various communities in Region 8. Minister Valerie Garrido Lowe says government is working to address the issue. Details from Delon Sanko.
Residents of Region 8 are concerned that there may be mining blocks in the buffer zone and various communities within Region 8. Buffer zones are areas along the banks of rivers where mining is prohibited. A resident of Chinapau, Edward McGarrell, says that in 2016, a Geology and Mine Commission representative informed residents that it is illegal to mine in buffer zones. The community does not have an issue with persons working in the mining areas. McGarrell notes that any mining must be in the confines of law and not infringe on their livelihoods.
At Wartop area. It was told to me last year that it is illegal to mine in a buffer zone, and it was surprising that this councillor said there is a block in the buffer zone. I questioned it at a meeting we had with protected areas. A rep from the from GGMC,
block meaning
a mining block within the buffer zone. We don't have a problem people doing their job, but at least do it like a professional, not like a bully.
Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous People Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe, says that the government is currently working to correct the situation.
Like 2 meetings already, and it's not only Chinapau this is happening, it's happening in Mykobi and other areas. The buffer zone is being mined on, and the villagers are not getting royalties and things like that. So we wouldn't take a year to iron that out, but we're trying to see now how we can go ahead and give you positive results.
There are a number of buffer zones requirement for operators of mines, quarries, and pits. The requirement helps minimize and prevents impact on the environment and nearby infrastructure such as roads and buildings. Buffer zones help to maintain the integrity of the river course that prevents erosion, which in turn reduce instances of turbidity and pollution.
The East Coast Road along the old railway embankment is being widened. More in this report.
Project coordinator at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Kester Hines, says widening the road will allow for a smoother flow of traffic. Traffic congestion in the mornings and afternoons as persons make their way in and out of the city has caused persons to be late for work and for children reporting late for school.
We have also geometric improvement for a section of the railway embankment that's stretching between Caricom and the bridge that is currently under construction. We're doing some widening works there to allow for a smoother or more efficient traffic flow within that area.
The project coordinator explains that the works are necessary since the area is usually plagued with heavy traffic, especially when persons are traveling to the Giftland Mall. He says the ministry's aim is to ensure that road works and bridges are undertaken and expanded to better create linkages for traveling across Guyana.
For many persons who traverse there, particularly at peak periods, when the Giftland Mall is operating, the challenge of moving through that area in a timely manner. So we're doing some geometric improvement there that will facilitate some independent through lane. So those through traffic wouldn't be interrupted by traffic that queued up there to make those turns. So we're addressing that.
The ministry is in the process of finalizing the design for the works, after which the project will go to tender.
Today, the Office of Climate Change targeted their first nursery school as it continues to raise awareness of climate change. More in this story.
The Office of Climate Change held its first puppeteering workshop with the first level students of Guyana Nursery School. Communications specialist Yasmin Bauman says that nursery students are open and attentive to the lessons taught.
We had a little discussion or a little display with a particular puppet, and after they would have gotten all of the information that we thought that they needed, then we're doing the reinforcement session right now. And I can tell you that they're learning a lot because they're learning about CO2, and we were surprised that they were able to retain some of the information that they heard at such a young age.
The communication specialist is optimistic that the children will remember what they were taught. Bauman notes that the agency will be visiting Smythe Street Nursery, followed by Roxanne Burnham Gardens Nursery for the second quarter of 2017. Guyana Nursery School headmistress Penelope Church says she is pleased that the lesson given were children-oriented, especially the way the puppets were utilized.
What I hope for them to take away from this session is that they will understand the concept of recycling. So in school, we can start teaching them how to treat certain things that they will bring, like if their juice box are empty, instead of throwing it away, we can probably just clean it and put it in the shop corner. We can probably have them bring plastic bags to school, get them to understand that they shouldn't litter, but they can use the plastic bag in the shop corner in school to go shopping. So when they're playing in the shop corner, we let them use the plastic bag to put the stuff in, so it will reinforce the concept that was taught to them, that when you go shopping, you keep recycling your plastic bags.
The awareness program is a collaborative effort between the Office of Climate Change and the Caribbean Youth Environmental Network, CN, to teach school children how they can help to save their environment. For the Government News Brief, Gabriela Patram.
In observance of Occupational Safety and Health Month 2017, the Ministry of Social Protection is holding a safety and health walk as part of the month of activities planned. The International Labour Organization theme for Occupational Safety and Health 2017 is Optimize the Collection and Use of Occupational Safety and Health Data. The walk will be held on Sunday, April 2nd at 7 hours from the Bank of Guyana building, moving north into Church Street, south into Albert Street, east into Brig Dam, then to the Jubilee Park at the Durban Park, Georgetown. We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. GINA has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be updated as the news unfolds. Remember to join again on Monday for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Have a safe weekend.